closed captioning provided by Beaufort County.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to open the board meeting of the Beaufort County School Board of Election at Hilton Head Island Middle School Media Center, 55 Wilbourn Road, Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, December 9th, 2025 at 4:30 p.m., the start of the executive session. At 6 o'clock to 9:15 p.m. will be the public session. It will be conducted live and in hybrid video conferencing. This meeting will be broadcast by the county channel. In accordance with new safety and security guidelines, bags, backpacks, and purses are prohibited by the public at Beaufort County Board of Education meetings. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker on Beaufort County School District and other school-related topics. Citizens wishing to participate in public comments can do so in person or via phone. There are 2 scheduled public comment forums during each board meeting. The first is a 30-minute session near the beginning of the meeting, limited to topics on the board meeting agenda. The second is a 15-minute session which takes place prior to adjournment, but no later than 9 p.m. Requests to participate in public comments via phone will be accepted electronically. You can find the Beaufort Board of Education public comment form on our website. And please sign up using the public comment form 24 hours from the day of the meeting. Requesters will receive a phone call during their respective public forum time and should be ready to speak. Citizens desiring to participate in person must fill out a public comment card that will be obtained from the board clerk upon arrival. In the event the board has not finished addressing all items listed on the December 9th, 2025 board meeting, the board will reconvene at 6 p.m. on December 10th, 2025, the next business day, to finish the agenda items. Currently, I have Mr. Smith is here now, so I have 7. Ms. Frazier and Mr. Smith are online, so we have and Mrs. Hay. So we do have a quorum. And so I would need, Mr. Nate, could you provide an order to go into executive session by reading all the statements on that?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that we move into executive session for the following reasons. Personnel matter regarding personnel ratification report pursuant to South Carolina Code annotated section 30 TAC 4 TAC 70A1. Discussion and negotiations incident to amendment number 7 with MBCon Construction Company Incorporated for the rebuild and renovation of Hilton Head Island High School Phase 1B and 2A and 2B 2023 referendum scope guaranteed maximum price pursuant to South Carolina Code annotated section 30 TAC 4 TAC 70A2. Receipt of legal advice relating to 2 settled claims covered by the attorney-client privilege pursuant to South Carolina Code annotated section 30 TAC 4 TAC 70A2, and discussion of receipt of legal advice regarding contractual matters covered by the attorney-client privilege pursuant to South Carolina Code annotated section 30 TAC 4 TAC 70A2.
Have a second, Mr. Carr, or Dr. Carr? Seconded by Dr. Carr. Any discussion?
Mr. Hartledge.
Okay. For no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Online, Ms. Hay? Aye. And Ms. Frazier? Frazier, aye. And Mr. Smith? Thank you. Motion carries. It will now go into executive session. I'd like to call the meeting back to order. Mr. Nay, do we have any actions as necessary or appropriate regarding matters discussed in executive session?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have two motions. Motion number one, I move that the school board approve the superintendent's recommendation for employment listed on the November 1st, 2025 to November 30th, 2025 personnel ratification report.
Have a second? Second by Dr. Carr. Any discussion?
Yes,
Mr. Smith?
could you read that motion again, put that motion up?
Could you read the motion again, please?
I move that the Board of Education approve the superintendent's recommendations for employment listed on the November 1st, 2025 to November 30th, 2025 personnel ratification report.
Okay, so basically we're just approving the ratification report.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Online, Mr. Small? Mr. Small? Ms. Frazier? Ms. Frazier? Ms. Hay? We can't seem to hear any response. I have them.
Most need to unmute.
For all have voted aye? All right, motion carries.
No point of order, no,
They couldn't hear me. Can they hear me now? All right, can you say the motion again, please?
I move that the Board of Education approve the superintendent's recommendations for employment listed on the November 1st, 2025 to November 30th, 2025 personnel ratification report.
Mr. Carr, could you second it again, please? Seconded by Mr. Carr. All those.
excuse me, the more you read that, the simple motion should be, I move that this time that the that we approve the ratification report. Because that right there, that's a little different hearing it, and that's what I thought I heard the first time. So we just approved the ratification report. So this is, I think it says a little maybe more than that. So I'm not too keen into that. That's basically what I'm saying. I think the motion should be simply, at this time, Mr. Superintendent, at this time, I move that we approve the ratification report that we were given in the executive session.
Mr. Smith, would you like to make a new motion?
Just as simple. At this time, I move that we approve the ratification report.
Have a second? Okay, we have a motion on the board as written, as stated before by Mr. Nay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Online, Mr. Small?
Aye. Aye.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Hay?
Aye.
Thank you.
No. Mr. Smith is a no.
Okay, motion carries.
Motion number two, I move that the Board of Education approve Amendment 7 with MBCon Construction Company Incorporated for the rebuild and renovations of Hilton Head Island High School Phase 1B, 2A, and 2B for a guaranteed maximum price of $147,240,115.
Second by Mr. Dr. Carr. Any discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Is this the money for the referendum? Is this our referendum, a part of the referendum?
Yes, it is.
And so this is referendum?
Yes, it is.
Thanks for the clarification.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Small?
Aye.
Okay. Ms. Frazier?
Sorry, that was Miss Frazier. Frazier, aye.
That's Ms. Frazier. All right. Ms. Frazier. How about Mr. Small?
Aye.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Hay?
Hay, aye.
Carries. You have any further?
No other business for motions coming out of executive session.
Okay. Can we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Dr. Carr, second. Any discussion? Mr. Smith?
Yes, sir. I would definitely like to pull OE3 off the consent agenda, and I would also like to pull off OE15 off this consent agenda.
Okay, OE3
OE3
and OE15.
and OE15.
Okay. Done?
Yeah.
All right. That'll go into board business action. All right. Any other changes? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Small,
Aye.
Ms. Frazier,
Aye.
and Ms. Hay.
Hey, aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Next item is the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence, so please remain standing. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Ms. Johnson, has the media been notified? Thank you. Tonight's student performance is May River High School Choir under the direction of Mr. Forrest Starr.
Ladies and gentlemen, for giving us the opportunity to perform on this board meeting tonight. Today, like was mentioned already, this is the May River High School Choir under the direction of Mr. Forrest. The second of which is Slow Dancing in the Snow by Jay Alt. Gentlemen, May River High School Choir.
Thursday, if you're welcome to join us at May River High School. It is free and open to the public, so please come support our students. Band is also performing with us, so lots of good music to see. Thank you so much for having us. What time? It is at 6:30. 6:30 Thursday. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Dr. Rodriguez, do we have points of celebration?
Yes, sir. This evening we have quite a bit of points of celebration, and we'll begin with character education for October. Tonight we're celebrating the Character Ed Student of the Month, exhibiting the character trait of courage and tolerance. Courage is defined as doing the right thing in the face of difficulty and following your conscience instead of the crowd. Tolerance is defined as realizing that everyone is at varying levels of character development. October Student of the Month for Southern Beaufort County is Isa Thotteville, a kindergarten student at MC Riley Elementary. And here to introduce Isa is Principal Melissa Holland.
Good evening, Dr. Rodriguez and members of the board. I'm here today with Isa, our student of the month, and also with Mrs. Daniel. Mrs. Daniel is our assistant principal at the Early Childhood Building at Michael C. Riley, and so she's here to present our student tonight.
Good afternoon. Isa Thotteville. Isa is a kindergarten student who shows a lot of courage and kindness every day. He is from India, and he is still learning English. But in our class, most of the children speak English and Spanish, but Isa never lets that stop him. Even when he doesn't know all the words, Isa tries his best to join in. He raises his hand, shares his ideas, and asks questions. That takes a lot of courage and bravery. Isa also works hard to make friends, even when it's hard to understand everything. He smiles, listens carefully, and always tries to be helpful. Isa is the first person in class to jump up and help someone when they need it. Isa also shows tolerance, which means he is kind and respectful to everyone. He never laughs at anyone who makes a mistake, and he is patient when others are different from him. Isa enjoys learning about his classmates and loves talking to all of his friends in the class. Isa's courage and kindness makes our classroom a better place for everyone. We are lucky to have him in our class and our school. Congratulations, Isa, on showing the character trait of courage at Michael C. Riley Elementary School. His parents can come up.
How about now? Okay, I'm switching places on you because we have quite a bit to move through, and I'm going to cut down on transition time for you. But tonight, we're celebrating fall middle school athletics as well as a few high school state championships. And here to tell us more is our district athletic director, Carlos Cave.
Good evening, everyone. We have an extensive list, so I'm going to try to be quick and efficient in celebrating of our student athletes and outstanding coaches. We're going to begin by recognizing athletes from this past spring that won state championships in track and field. The 2025 Class 4A state champion in the 4x400 meter relay from Beaufort High School consisted of Edward Green, Eric Smart, Caleb Stephen, and Amari Patterson with a time of 3:19. They are the state champions from this past spring in the 4x400 meter relay. If those individuals are present and a representative from school, if you will come forward at this time. Next, we'd like to recognize from Royal Branch Early College High School, the 2025 100 meter hurdle champion, running a sub 14-second time. That state champion is a junior, Mr. Jonathan Kelly. Next, we move on to Bluffton High School, 800 meter champion, Class 4A, Mr. Earl Baker with a time of 1 minute and 55 seconds. Now we move on to our middle school recognition, and then we'll finish with our varsity sports. Beginning with volleyball, selected by her peers as the Coach's Choice Coach of the Year from A.G. McCracken, Ms. Heather Ward. And now the Outstanding Player of the Year in 2025 volleyball, coming from the championship team, Ms. Campbell Benenbaugh, Hilton Head Island Middle School. And now the Coach of the Year from the championship Hilton Head Island Middle School team, Ms. Haley Edwards. Now we move on to middle school football. Coach's Choice Coach of the Year selected by his peers, 2025, Mr. Marvin Powers, River Ridge Academy. And now the Player of the Year, coming from the championship Bluffton Middle School football team, Mr. Malachi Martinez. And the championship coach of the year from the Bluffton Middle School 2025 Coach of the Year, Mr. Torino Lawyer. And now we move on to our varsity sports. Again, we've had another outstanding year in the fall with 2 teams crowning their seasons with state championships. The first team to accomplish this during this fall sports season was the Hilton Head Island High School girls golf team. So we would have the principal step forward and members of that golf team to come forward as well.
I'm not going to do the talk. I'll have Coach Tanner come up here and introduce his players real quick. Coach Tanner.
So we do have an individual state champion as well for 4A, Ms. Harper Hedden, shooting 2 under, Hilton Head Lakes for the year as well. We have Ms. Daisy Peace, Brooke Nicholas, Maya Singh, Kat Gavin, B.B. King, Axel Montoya, C.C. Kersey, and my assistant coach, Ms. Lear Theory, and Ben Sampson. Thank you guys for the support.
And our final recognition tonight, back-to-back state champions in cross country, the Bluffton Bobcat girls cross country team, if they will come forward. We'll ask the principal to introduce the young ladies and the team.
Thank you, Dr. Cave. Thank you, Dr. Rodriguez. Thank you, board. We want to wish congratulations to those ladies who are in attendance tonight. Kaylee Daggermenchi, who's a 7th grader, joining our team. Maddie Craps, Ella Craps, and Giada Karji. Again, 2-time state champions back-to-back. Very, very proud of them. And we also learned right before Thanksgiving break that Coach Melton and Coach Smith were also named the 4A Girls Cross Country Coaches of the Year. So congratulations to them as well.
Okay, the next item is Education Support Professional of the Year. And tonight is my honor to recognize an outstanding member of our school community as the SCEA Education Support Professional of the Year. This annual award celebrates the vital contributions that education support professionals make every day to our schools, our students, and our community. And their commitment, dedication, and care help create safe, supportive, and successful learning environments. And their impact reaches far beyond the classroom. At this time, it's my pleasure to invite St. Helena Elementary Principal Constance Goodwine Lewis to the podium to introduce this year's honoree.
Rodriguez.
Good to see you.
And board. I am Catherine Argo Cummings. I'm representing on behalf of Principal Lewis. I serve as the assistant principal at St. Helena Elementary, where I am proud, or we serve proud, to announce the support teacher of the year, Ms. Lattimore. If you can, please come before us. Ms. Lattimore, this is my first year in the district as well as St. Helena Elementary. Going into the school, I've noticed that Miss Lattimore, she goes over and beyond to support our Early Childhood Learning Center. She co-teaches with Dr. Jackson, who serves in the Early Childhood Center as well. And Miss Lattimore, she goes over and beyond to ensure that the students are fed each day, working with small groups, making sure that they're enhancing their social skills. She does everything that a support person do, as well as more. She goes over outside of her classroom to assist her colleagues, and she stands really strong with her admin. So we're proud to announce Miss Michelle Lattimore, Panther Pride, Island Wide. Yes.
Next this evening, I'm proud to share exciting news today that Beaufort Jasper Academy for Career Excellence has officially earned Cognia STEM certification, a nationally recognized mark of excellence in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education. This following right on the heels of a Palmetto's Finest Award in recent years. So we're proud of the work that happens at Beaufort Jasper ACE, and here to tell us about the certification process is ACE Director, Dr. Mike Lavecchio.
Thank you. I'm going to actually turn the mic over to my assistant director, Miss Carrie Chappell, because I would be lying if I took a lot of credit for her hard work with this, because she really was the point person on this, and I feel like she would be the best person to share the details.
Good evening, board. It's an honor to work at such an innovative and dynamic place as ACE. And the great work that our staff and students at ACE really made the application for Cognia STEM certification write itself. We did go through about a year-long process of preparing, assessing our on 10 different standards. As Dr. Rodriguez said, these are national standards for STEM education. And so we self-assessed, and then we had a review process where all different groups of stakeholders were spoken about the STEM education that happens at ACE. And so we were very proud to get this prestigious recognition. So thank you for recognizing us tonight. And thank you, Dr. Rodriguez, for all your support in making it happen.
This evening, I have one more item to share with you, and it's regarding a strategic compensation grant. Tonight, I'd like to share information about a state-funded pilot designed to support innovative strategic educator compensation in public school districts and charter schools across South Carolina. This pilot was funded by the South Carolina General Assembly for the 24-25 school year and has now been extended through the 25-26 school year. The goal of the initiative is straightforward: to recognize and reward educators whose work is directly connected to student academic growth. In December 2024, based on the established criteria of the program, Whale Branch Middle School was selected by the state for funding. For implementation, Beaufort County School District elected to participate in the state collaboration approach. This model is based on spring-to-spring student growth as measured by SC Ready assessments. And to qualify for awards, students must have assessment results from both the prior and the current school years. Eligible awards were available to classroom teachers in grades 4 through 8 who teach English language arts or mathematics. For the 2024-2025 school year, Whale Branch Middle School has 2 teachers receiving awards under this pilot program. One is Christine Williams, and the other is Krista Huffman. They are receiving English Language Arts Awards. We're proud of these educators and appreciative of their commitment to student growth and academic success. This pilot represents one way we continue to explore meaningful and data-informed approaches to recognizing the work of our teachers and supporting excellence in our schools. Here to help recognize these two teachers is Principal Brantley Wilson. If he'll join me at this time. So the first person I'd like to recognize is Krista Huffman, if she would come forward here. Krista is receiving a check for $11,480 from the state of South Carolina for this initiative. They didn't know about this. She's a little speechless right now. The next person is Christine Williams, who will receive a check for $25,920. I want to congratulate these two educators, and we appreciate the great work that they've done in supporting student achievement at Will Branch.
Yes, sir. Keep up the great work, ladies.
On that happy note, we're going to go to public comments. Before we start public comments, I want to read on the back of the public comment form, the use of physically actions or remarks, comments, or conduct by speakers or members of the audience are prohibited. And any behavior that willfully disrupts a meeting to the extent that orderly conduct of the meeting is seriously compromised is prohibited. No presentation by a speaker shall exceed 3 minutes. The chair will strictly enforce this time limit. A suitable timing device shall be employed to notify the speaker of the end of his or her comment period. Speakers shall not yield their time to another speaker. Persons appearing before the board should be aware that the board members are without authority to act independently as individuals in official matters. Neither the board nor individual members will respond to speakers during public comment. Our first speaker this evening is Mr. Bernie Salerno, 107 Cypress Hollow, Bluffton, South Carolina, is speaking on topic of book bans.
Hi, it's Ms. Bernie Scalero, but
I'm sorry.
that's okay.
Go ahead, please, ma'am.
And good evening and congratulations to those who just won some great awards and money. This past Saturday, I happened to be in Washington, D.C. for a conference, and I visited the U.S. Holocaust Museum. I was reading about book burning in 1933 Germany. The book burnings, and I quote, was a calculated, coordinated effort to purify German culture. The students worked from prepared blacklist of books deemed un-German. Now, in South Carolina, the main themes of book bans primarily target sexual content, but the challenged books disproportionately involve stories and authors from LGBTQ+, and Black, Indigenous, and people of color. I have not read the current challenge books, so I'm not speaking on them individually, and I do not think anyone can make an educated decision without reading those books in their entirety. So hopefully you've done your homework and read the books. To be clear, there's already an opt-out process for parents who are concerned about their own child's reading selection. Parental choice of one should not take away parental choice for another. As a retired public and private high school counselor, I trust in the professionalism of our educators, whether in the classroom or school libraries. School media specialists are qualified teachers with advanced degrees, and it is their job, their professional job, to choose age-appropriate learning materials that foster and stimulate understanding and growth. You can come here every time a parent doesn't like a book and challenges it, or we can have a better process at the individual school level and have a review committee with educators and media specialists involved. But I am concerned that this is a slippery slope. Holding the record for most book bans is not a record to be proud of. Reading is powerful. We do not want to strip our youth from reading the experiences of people similar to them and how they perhaps survived in horrific or challenging circumstances that often may be reflected in a page of sexual or physical abuse that mirrors their own book of life. And to quote, "And if you feel lost, come back to your story. No one can take away what you lived through." That's a quote from a poem from Milk and Honey, one of the books being considered to be banned. Please do your due justice with this situation. Thank you.
Next speaker is Mr. Rob Kilgore from Columbus Drive in Savannah. And he's speaking on academic freedom and books and censorship.
Good evening, everybody here and online. My name is, I'm here to talk about the books on the agenda today, and I'm grateful to the board and everyone here to make this meeting happen. Congratulations to the teachers and educators. May everybody get bonuses. My name is Rob Kilgore, and I'm an associate professor of English at USC Beaufort. I've taught at USCB since 2007. I'm not speaking for my employer, but I am speaking for myself. I'm also a member of the American Association of University Professors, and I'm vice president of the South Carolina AAUP. I speak in support of educators and students and in support of them having the ability to access books and information as appropriate. I've been following the story about book challenges for a few years now, and I do want to make some observations. The books have literary merit, and they have readers who really need them. Reducing these full and complex books to sex scenes misses the point. If one hasn't read Atwood's Handmaid's Tale, you might get the impression from the forums that the book is kind of trashy. But you read it in its entirety, you realize the novel is about so much more: freedom, obligation, complex choices, memory, the idea of writing and itself. Atwood and Handmaid's Tale are highly regarded, and it's been made into a movie and a TV series, internet memes. It's required reading in a lot of university courses and in a lot of high schools. It is a classic to this point. And, I just wonder if the Beaufort Schools really wants a headline saying that we are restricting access to Handmaid's Tale. For what it's worth, Rupi Kaur's Milk and Honey is also a book of literary merit. It's both beautiful and it's intense. It's really good poetry, among other things, and this is where I'm a professor. It's a revision of the Renaissance sonnet sequence idea, and yet, unlike the women in Renaissance sonnets, show a woman seeking to assert that she is herself entire and not just an object for men to pursue or abuse. To say the book is just about sex is a claim that the book itself actually really refutes. The book takes the reader through a narrative arc of familial sexual abuse,
a relationship with a lover, a breakup, and the process of healing and redirection of energy. It's about self-determination at the end of the day, even when others in her own family try to steal that right from her. I bought a used copy of this book, and on page 26, there's a poem. I'll read real brief. It's all right. The rape will tear you in half, but it will not end you. And the reader I bought it for wrote, "Remember this," in the margin of the book.
Sir, your 3 minutes is up.
Thank you for considering and listening to me today.
Next speaker is Miss Ivy Sly, and her topic is sexually explicit books.
Good evening, board members, superintendent, staff, and community. Tonight is not about politics. It is not about race. It is not about sexual orientation, and it certainly is not about erasing anyone's identity, no matter what others may claim. My efforts have never been to take away anyone's voice, representation, or history. This has always been about one thing, the content, and whether that content is appropriate for minors. Regulation 43-170 does not talk about banning ideas. It does not censor themes. It does not silence perspectives. In fact, it specifically states, in no event shall a school district board's decision to remove existing instructional material or to reject the proposed addition of new instructional material be based primarily on or motivated by the district board's disagreement with or opposition to the viewpoints expressed therein. This regulation simply requires that sexually explicit material, graphic sexual acts, pornographic descriptions, and age-inappropriate depiction of sex not be placed in the hands of minors in our public schools. This is the same reasonable expectation we have for every other school resource, age-appropriate, educationally purposeful, and compliant with district and state guidelines. If a book contains scenes of oral sex, sexual violence, masturbation, or adults engaging in sex with minors, that is not academic enrichment. It is not necessary for a student to understand literature, identity, or the world around them. Removing a book with sexually explicit scenes from a school library is not erasing a student's lived experience. Protecting minors from graphic sexual content is not discrimination. It is a responsibility. Recently, the United States Supreme Court declined to hear a case out of Texas that challenged the removal of sexually explicit books from school libraries, meaning the lower court ruling stands affirming that removing inappropriate material from school access is constitutional and does not violate free speech protections. During Banned Book Week, a lawsuit was filed here in South Carolina challenging the regulation on similar grounds, but it's clear that courts across the country recognize that protecting children from explicit sexual content is both lawful and reasonable. For the record, Moms of Liberty did not buy my binder or put this together for me. No one is funding me, influencing me, or using me as a puppet. I'm simply a mom who has always put children first. So tonight, I'm asking this board to act with courage and clarity, follow the regulation, remove the sexually explicit books, and protect our students. Because protecting kids isn't censorship, it's your duty. Thank you.
The next speaker is Mary Foster, and her topic is book reviews.
Good evening, I am Mary Foster and I've lived in Beaufort County for 21 years. I hate that my final meeting as a Beaufort County resident will be focused on yet another effort to remove access to books from our students. I've been involved with fighting these attempts since December of 2022. I've spoken to this board several times, and as well as to our State Board of Education, and I have listened as students, parents, librarians, educators, and concerned community members have asked you repeatedly over the last 3 years not to remove books or restrict access. And yet in August, I watched you re-review 9 titles and require parental consent for students to access them. I'm not sure what we can do differently tonight, but you better believe I'm not leaving this state without giving it one more shot. Let me start by reminding you again that this state regulation under which these complaints were filed is now being challenged in a lawsuit. So I imagine you all are really tired of this, and frankly, after 3 years of advocacy work related to this, so am I. I believe the complainant genuinely wants to help children, but as an educator and parent myself, I find it preposterous that books are the thing we believe children need protection from. I wish we could spend this much time and energy being sure our classrooms are not overcrowded, providing the resources and materials our students and teachers need, feeding children who are hungry, keeping our schools safe. I could go on, but still, here we are, still talking about removing books that our community has reviewed and wanted to leave in our schools. We have demonstrated time and time again that the vast majority of this community trusts our teachers and librarians. We want our children to have access to as many books as possible, and we recognize that not every book is for every reader. We are aware that parents can opt their children out of reading any book they choose, and we do not believe that one parent knows what's best for all children. You do not have to give in to this complainant to make this go away. You could instead stand up for what's right. You could stand with the majority of your constituents who do not want more books restricted. I know many of you bristle at the term book ban, and you might argue that only burning books and other extreme actions are a true ban. And if I had more than 3 minutes, I'd love to explain all the reasons I disagree. But for now, just know that throughout history, burning books was never the first step. It always started with certain viewpoints being questioned, certain subjects being declared inappropriate, a small minority making a decision that impacted the majority. You must be honest with yourselves about your role at this moment in our history. It is so frustrating to see our county, a county that received national attention for our refusal to give in to a handful of people who wanted to control our libraries, acquiescing to one demand. We can do better, and we have done better in the past. I urge you to do what is right for all students and families in Beaufort County. Thank you for all that you do.
Next speaker is Tony Cambria, wants to speak on board governance, board action.
Good evening. General Colin Powell said, "Don't be afraid to challenge the pros, even in their own backyard." It appears this board, under the leadership of the current chair, has abdicated its primary duty, the oversight of teaching and learning. There are a parade of horribles to acknowledge. Some examples: performance scores verify the majority of our students are underperforming in many states' assessment metrics. Additionally, the chair has basically abolished the role, powers, and responsibilities of trustees by making the chairperson's role irrelevant and pointless, and an embarrassing, pathetic echo of what it once was. The chair has unilaterally eliminated agenda-setting meetings, declaring they are not necessary. The chair has manipulated the elimination of many board past practices and collaborative governance models. However, his latest, verbalizing a desire to perpetuate physical assault and then sheepishly dismissing his actions with a justification of his words, were off the record. Unprecedented. Many ask, what is being experienced within our school district community? Some might say we have a crisis of credibility and accountability. Some might say we have an absence of integrity and courage. More precisely, some may say this is what happens when the Board of Education forgets how to advocate and govern for anything beyond the preservation of its own minimal respectability. These conditions are direct results of this board's failure to govern and provide oversight. Anyone paying attention can see, hear, and feel the toxicity at most meetings. It's no wonder 40% of board members choose virtual participation. Your failure to act will define you as callous, depraved, and soulless, not only to the students and teachers, but to each other. I challenge you, do better. The students require better. The teachers deserve better. The community demands better, and you promise better. To the chairperson, George Washington, an old Army general speaking on leadership, said, "It is better to offer no excuse than a bad one." Thank you for listening.
Next speaker is Mr. Richard Bissey. His topic is board governance.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Richard Bissey. I live on Hilton Head. The ability to acknowledge a mistake is an important leadership skill. And unfortunately, it appears that our board chair has not yet demonstrated it. As you will recall, during last month's hot mic incident, the chair was clearly heard making an inappropriate remark involving his gavel and referring to his body cavity, language that strongly suggests the comment was directed at a specific board member, Will Smith. Despite this, the board has since claimed the remark was not directed at anyone on the board. At the November 21st work session, the chair attempted to explain the incident in a lengthy, rambling statement suggesting that he had been referring to a garbage can and a piece of paper, describing himself as an old soldier who mutters and mumbles. His clarification raised more questions than it answered and did little to restore confidence in his leadership. It reminded me of something George Santos would have said, or one of Kamala Harris's infamous word salads. I've known the chair for many years. As co-founder of CARE, I supported his campaign for school board and we interacted on a regular basis. My experience with him did not reflect the behavior or explanations we're seeing now. At the time, we believed that he would be a strong reformer, but something appears to have changed. What concerns me just as much is the board's response or lack of response to this situation. Board members, including my representative, Elizabeth Hay, who's not with us tonight, have offered no public comment about either the incident or the chair's explanation. I would hope the same level of attention given to national political issues by my board rep on social media could also be applied to matters directly affecting our students and schools. And more importantly, student achievement should be this board's highest priority, yet no one has publicly questioned or even discussed the data which has been presented to you, which shows little progress over the last 5 years for white, black, and Hispanic students. Our minority students, who now make up a majority of enrollment, face a highly competitive job market, and graduating into minimum wage opportunities should not be the expected outcome. The board's continued silence on both leadership concerns and academic performance is deeply troubling. You're responsible for overseeing one of the highest paid superintendents in South Carolina, and the community expects you to provide meaningful oversight. I urge you to take the responsibility seriously, and remember, truth is worth speaking, even when the world refuses to listen, or in this case, the school board.
All right, next item on the agenda is the 2025 South Carolina Instructional Materials Uniform Complaint Forms for the month of February, challenging the following library books: Milk and Honey, Onyx and Crake, November 9, Perfect, and The Handmaid's Tale. The way we will conduct this portion of the meeting will be the same way that we conducted it the last time this was brought up to the board from the state superintendent of education. And in that, I'll read you what I sent to the state board on how we conducted it last time. At that hearing, each board member was given a copy of the results from the 22-23 Beaufort County School District's Book Review Committee's results for each book. Board members were also provided with a copy of the objection to each book that Mrs. Salai provided to the state board. Mrs. Salai was then given the opportunity to address the board on her objection to each book. When she finished her comments about the first book on the list, citizens who wished to make comments about the book were given 3 minutes to do so. In the interest of time, 3 minutes were given to a citizen who supported Mrs. Salai's views, and 3 minutes were given to a citizen who opposed her views. After these 3 people spoke to the board, board members were allowed to provide their views about the book. This process was continued for each of the remaining books. After all the books were reviewed under this process, the board voted on the disposition of each book separately. The votes were, you had a choice of 1, retain the book in the library, 2, remove the book from the library, or 3, restrict access to parental consent of the books in the library. The first book that we will look at by Mrs. Salai starting out is Milk and Honey. Before you start, if you wish to call in to make support on this book, the number to call in is 843-322-0733. And we will make that same announcement of the phone number after each book is presented by Mrs. Salai. Mrs. Salai, please, you're free to start now.
I put this on. Yes, okay. I didn't want to do anything to mess it up. Okay. Okay, thank you. The first book is Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. I hope I didn't mess that up too much. This book is available in the following schools: Battery Creek High School and Bluffton High School. And I want to make sure that there are no children present. Page 8 violates the regulation with the depiction of a naked woman, insinuation of lewd exhibition of genitals and female breast and nipples. You have been taught your legs are a pit stop for men that need a place to rest, a vacant body, empty enough for guests, but no one ever comes in willing to stay. Page 8 violates the regulation by describing a child being violated by her uncle. The therapist places the doll in front of you. It is the size of girls your uncle likes touching. Point to where his hands were. You point to the spot between its legs, the ones he fingered out of you like a confession. Page 15 violates the regulation with a description of masturbation of genitals. Page 20 violates the regulation with a description of masturbation. Page 29 violates the regulation with a depiction of a naked woman masturbating. Page 38 violates the regulation with referral to what would be masturbation. Page 40 violates the regulation with a description of oral sex. Page 41 violates the regulation with description of oral sex. Page 52 violates the regulation with the description of fingering and a visual picture depicting fingers with vaginal excretions. You must have known you were wrong when your fingers were dipped inside me, searching for honey, which would not come. Page 54 violates the regulation with the visual picture of a naked woman and reference to oral sex. Page 67 violates the regulation with a visual picture of 2 naked people spooning. Although no genitals are pictured, they are naked, and it's hard to tell if they are engaged in sex or not. Page 92 violates the regulation with a visual depiction of a vagina. And finally, page 99 violates the regulation with a visual depiction of a naked woman showing her breasts with nipples and her vagina. Thank you.
All right, ma'am. Is there anybody that wishes to speak in favor of Mrs. Salai's position in the audience tonight? I don't see anybody. If anybody wishes to call in, the number is 843-322-0733. You have 1 minute to call in. The 1 minute time is up. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak in favor of retaining the book? If so, sir, you may approach and you will have 3 minutes to rebut.
I'm not a resident of Beaufort County.
I'm sorry then, sir, then you are not eligible to respond.
I had told the clerk on the way in, but I don't want to
All
disrupt the
right,
process.
fine.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else in the audience that wishes to? All right, you have 1 minute to call in if you wish to speak in favor of retaining the book at 843-322-0733. And the time is up. We'll go to the next book. The next book is Oryx and Crank by Margaret Atwood. Ms. Salai.
Thank you. Oryx and Crank by Margaret Atwood. This book is available at Bluffton High School. It contains sexual activities, including sexual nudity and bestiality. There are multiple references throughout the book to fiction, pornographic websites, and pedophilia. Page 40 violates the regulation with a description of oral sex. Let's pretend I'm here with you, big butt and all, getting ready to suck your brains right out of your dick. Page 54 violates the regulation with referral to bestiality and lewd exhibition. Page 71 violates the regulation with not being age appropriate. Teachers having relations with students is illegal. Her name was Melons. That was a nickname used among the boys in the class, but Snowman can't remember her real name. She shouldn't have been down so closely over his read-a screen, her large round breast almost touching his shoulder. She shouldn't have worn her new Skins t-shirt tucked so tightly into her zip-leg shorts. It was too distracting. He liked to imagine, that if he hadn't been a minor and she is teacher and subject to abuse charges, she'd have been gnawing her way through his bedroom walls to sink her avid fingers into his youthful flesh. Page 73 violates the regulation with reference to bestiality. Page 86 violates the regulation with description of sex and bodily excrement. Page 89 violates the regulation with description of oral sex, pedophilia, and oral sex with minors. Page 110 violates the regulation with masturbation. Page 130 violates the regulation with descriptions of pedophilia. Something else would have to be found for the brother, some other occupation. He would have to be sold elsewhere. The other children in the room shook their heads. The brother would be sold to a pimp, they said. A pimp for hairy white foreign men and bearded brown men, or yellow fat yellow men, any kind of men who like little boys. They described in detail what these men would do. They laughed about it. He would be a melon bum boy, they said. That's what boys like him were called. Firm and round on the outside, soft and sweet on the inside. A nice melon bum for anyone who paid. Page 131 violates the regulation with pedophilia and a description of genitals. Page 136 violates the regulation for not being age appropriate, as well as page 139. Page 140 violates regulation with age appropriateness and description of penises. Page 141 violates the regulation for age appropriateness and description of penises again. Page 142 violates the regulation for not being age appropriate and mention of oral sex. Page 143 violates for not being age appropriate with reference to porn and pedophilia. Page 165 violates regulation for not being age appropriate. Page 167 violates the regulation with mention of masturbation in public. Page 169 violates the regulation for bestiality. Page 174 violates for age appropriateness. Page 215, again, age appropriateness. Page 230 violates regulation with mention of nipples and breast and age appropriateness. Page 285 with description of sex. Page 314 with mention of bestiality. And finally, page 328 violates the regulation with bestiality. Thank you.
Is there anybody in the audience? Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak in support of Mrs. Salai's comments? Seeing none, anybody that wishes to call in support of her comments can call at 843-322-0733. You have 1 minute to call in. One minute is up. Is there anybody that wishes to speak in support of retaining the books in the school, in the audience tonight? Seeing no one. The person, if you wish to call in and support, call 843-322-0733. You have 1 minute to call in. The 1 minute is up. We'll now go to the next book. November 9th by Colleen Hoover.
Okay, next we have November 9th by Colleen Hoover. This book is available at Bluffton High School, and the book contains sexual activities. Page 4 violates the regulation with mention of ejaculate. Releasing sperm into the vagina of a 24-year-old does not a father make, I say, somewhat bitterly. Page 158 violates the regulation with description of vaginal intercourse. As soon as his words brush over my mouth, he covers me in a deep kiss. My whole body tenses from the burst of pain that ripples through me as he pushes inside of me, but the perfection of the way we fit together makes the pain a mere inconvenience. Page 203 violates the regulation with mention of vaginal excretions. To quote, "You're so wet." Page 220 violates the regulation with description of vaginal sex. It doesn't take 10 seconds before I have her on her back and I'm buried deep inside her. I make love to her slowly this time, not in a wild rush like we did twice before. Page 299 violates the regulation with mention of ejaculate. Thank you.
All right, is there anybody in the audience that would like to make a statement in support of Mrs. Salai's objection? Seeing none, you have 1 minute to call 843-322-0733 if you wish to speak in support of Mrs. Salai's objection. And 1 minute has passed. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak in support of retaining this book in the library? Seeing none, anybody that wishes to call in support of retaining this book in the library can call 843-322-0733, and you have 1 minute to call in. And 1 minute is up. We'll now move to the next book, is Perfect by Miss Ellen Hopkins.
Perfect by Ellen Hopkins is available at Beaufort High School, Bluffton High School, and May River High School. Page 268 violates the regulation with description of rape, bodily fluid, and while it may not be a violation of the regulation, the rapist blaming the victim might give others ideas to do the same. She tastes of soap and salt, a knockout combination. It makes me high, makes me thirsty, makes me hungry for even more. This could easily become addiction. I prove it with my mouth, my fingers, my tongue. This is her first time, so I want her to be ready, and I think she has to be. I don't want to hurt you, I tell her, ever. She is flushed, her skin hot as summer sand. I'm crazy again, this time with the need to make this all real. I lift myself over her, working forearms, biceps. She closes her eyes, moans as I move into place right up against her sweet spot. Pause at the resistance. I need you, I say before kissing her. Before going all the way with her, one push, and we will be joined in the most amazing way, connected by love. Now, I have to have her now. But just as I test the barrier, everything screaming yes, go, she opens her eyes, and out of her mouth comes a single word, no. I heard her wrong. I know I did. And even if I didn't, I know she means now, not no. So I go ahead and push hard. Oh, oh. And her eyes pop wide and she screams, stop. I said no, stop, goddammit. And her little fists try to pound against my chest, which only feels good. And I can't stop, even if I wanted to. And so I don't, so I won't. And she starts to cry, and I don't understand, so I tell her over and over again, I love you, I love you, I love you. Rhythmic, in perfect time with my body's rhythmic beat. I love you, I love you. There's a strange buzzing in my ears with a final thrust. There's a brilliant flash, and the emptying is syncopated. My head clears as the mist slowly lifts, and I see what I have done. Kara lies, stiff as old toast, tear-glossed eyes staring up at me. I told you no, she whispers. Why? Fuck, fuck, fuck. What the hell just happened? You wanted this. You told me so. In fact, you practically raped me. She sobs, and her entire body shakes from the force of it. No, you raped me. Her voice slices, tempered steel. I told you to stop. Page 319 violates the regulation with reference to female excretion. Page 468 violates the regulation with reference to male ejaculate. Page 491 violates the regulation with reference to oral sex. And page 529 violates the regulation with a description of lesbian sex. Thank you.
All right, is there anybody in the audience who wishes to speak in support of Mrs. Salai's objection? Seeing none, if you wish to call in support of Mrs. Salai's objection, you can call 843-322-0733, and you have 1 minute to call in. And 1 minute is up, so we'll move to the last book. The last book is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood.
The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood is available at Battery Creek High School, Beaufort High School, Bluffton High School, May River High School, and Well Branch Early College High School. Like to point out that every single one of these books were available at Bluffton High School. Page 22 violates the regulation with imagery of masturbation. I hope they get hard at the sight of us and have to rub themselves against the painted barriers surreptitiously. Page 93 violates the regulation with description of vaginal sex. Above me, towards the head of the bed, Serena Joy is arranged outspread. Her legs are apart. I lie between them, my head on her stomach, her pubic bone under the base of my skull, her thighs on either side of me. She too is fully clothed. My arms are raised. She holds my hands, each of mine and each of hers. This is supposed to signify that we are one flesh, one being. What it really means is that she is in control of the process and thus of the product, if any. The rings of her left hand cut into my fingers. It may or may not be revenge. My red skirt is hitched up to my waist, though no higher. Below it, the commander is fucking. What he is fucking is the lower part of my body. I do not say making love because this is not what he is doing. Copulating too would be inaccurate because it would imply two people and only one is involved. Nor does rape cover it. Nothing is going on here that I haven't signed up for. There wasn't a lot of choice, but there was some, and this is what I chose. Therefore, I lie still and picture the unseen canopy over my head. I remember Queen Victoria's advice to her daughter, close your eyes and think of England. But this is not England. I wish he would hurry up. Maybe I'm crazy and this is some kind of new therapy. I wish it were true, then I could get better and this would go away. Serena Joy grips my hands as if it is she, not I, who's being fucked. As if she finds it either pleasurable or painful, and the Commodore fucks with regular 2/4 marching stroke, on and on, like a tap, dripping. He is preoccupied like a man humming to himself in the shower, without knowing he's humming like a man who has other things on his mind. It's as if he's somewhere else, waiting for himself to come, drumming his fingers on the table while he waits. There's an impatience in the rhythm now. But isn't this everyone's wet dream, two women at once? They used to say that, exciting, they used to say. It has nothing to do with sexual desire, at least for me, and certainly not for Serena. Arousal and orgasm are no longer thought necessary. They would be a symptom of frivolity, merely, like jazz garter or beauty spots, superfluous distractions for the light-minded. Page 95 violates the regulation with a description of excretory function. He comes at last with a stifled groan as of relief. I untangle myself from her body, stand up. The juice of the commander runs down my legs. Page 118 violates the regulation with a description of sexual acts and sadomasochistic acts. Women kneeling, sucking penises or guns, women tied up or chained or with dog collars around their necks, women hanging from trees or upside down, naked, with their legs held apart, women being raped, beaten up, killed. Page 139 violates the regulation with description that is meant to allude to excretory function of a man after having sex. And page 222 violates the regulation with imagery of sex, description of a penis and a vagina. Thank you.
Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak in favor of banning this book from our libraries? Yes, sir. You'll have 3 minutes. You start the timer, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to correct you on the use of banning books. That's not really the case. They're still available to people in general. I want to thank Ivy for all of the hard work that she's done. Nothing that I say here is going to change the fact that the material doesn't belong in our schools. But it's ironic that we have a book review like this and these materials aren't looked at by the people that work in our schools. Yet last week we implemented weapons systems, weapons detection systems to keep weapons out of our schools, which I'm happy we've done that. But there are other weapons, and books like this can create some emotional problems for kids if they don't know how to handle them. One thing I do want to say is I appreciate you giving her the chance to speak her mind and to follow the regulation. Thanks.
Is there anybody that wishes to speak in favor of retaining this book in the... Go ahead, ma'am. You have 3 minutes when you get to the podium.
Thank you. Just a couple of things. First, I want to remind you that your job is to determine if these books violate the reg, not if the complainant believes that they violate the reg. And then, since we have taken this tactic of reading the details out loud, details that are all public record that you have in packets in front of you, I have a few excerpts that I would like to read. First, I wanted to rape you and then murder you afterwards. Second, he would flog her to death with a rubber truncheon. He would tie her naked to a stake and shoot her full of arrows like Saint Sebastian. He would ravish her and cut her throat at the moment of climax. Third, he could feel her breast right yet firm through her overalls. And fourth, she threw herself down on the bed and at once, without any kind of preliminary, in the most coarse, horrible way you can imagine, pulled up her skirt. These are all excerpts from George Orwell's novel 1984, which our State Board of Education voted unanimously to retain on shelves. Reading shocking passages does not mean that a book violates the regulation. A quick anecdote about The Handmaid's Tale. In the fall of 2022, when these 96 books were originally challenged, there was a class at Beaufort High School, an English class, who was reading and studying The Handmaid's Tale together. A friend of mine's child was in that class when they had the books removed from them because of this challenge, and they were not able to finish the book and finish the discussion in class. This is a novel that is taught all over the country in high school classes and AP classes, as my colleague said, in college classes. Do we really want to be the district that restricts access to this award-winning book that's part of AP exams? And the irony of banning a book that features a storyline where women are not allowed to learn to read shouldn't be lost on any of us. Thank you.
All right. Now it's time for the board to vote. And the way we'll do this is I will mention the book title, and then I will call the roll. And you can make a general comment about the book if you wish, but the bottom line is I need you to vote to either 1, retain the book in the library, 2, remove the book from the library, or 3, restrict the book in the library in a restricted file that parental consent must be achieved before a child can check the book out. So you have 3 choices, and I will tally the results, and we will, if we have a majority in one or the other, that will be the board's position. Any questions, comments? Any comments online? Questions online?
Not at this time.
Okay. We'll start down the row line. Pastor Gordon is not available. Ms. Gordon is not available. Mr. Smith, how do you vote?
And the vote is to keep the books. Uphold the
retain the book, or remove the book, or restrict the book. That's the first book. That's Milk and Honey.
And these books, correct? These books we've already reviewed these books, haven't we? And our staff have in the process of reviewing these books, our staff have. The decision was to uphold it, and the state sent it back to us to make another decision on it. Can we say that as well before we stop voting on this?
Yes.
You said,
Community reviewed the book through the process, right? And that included some district staff within that process. Okay.
Right.
They made recommendations to the board at that time, and then the board took a position at that time.
Right.
In essence, if I recall, the board position was alongside the recommendation of those committees.
The last page in your packet has the vote by the committee. For example, in this book, Milk and Honey, 4 votes were to keep it at the high school level. 1 vote was to keep it at the 6th to 8th grade level, and 2 votes were to remove the book entirely. That was the vote of the committee. So the book was retained in the high school library. Okay?
And the reason why I want that to be noted is because I've had some people who've asked me, why are we doing this again, or have we not done this? And I think that is very important as you move further through this process, that people understand what's the process and why are we here where we are right now. Because if someone's just tuning in and not knowing what's going on, then I think it's important for them to understand why we're doing what we're doing in the matter of this meeting. So, so for that, I just want to I'm going to say uphold the decision.
I'm sorry, you can say retain the book in the library?
Yeah, yes, because parents, this would,
right.
retain the book.
I'm next, and I'm going to restrict the book, vote to restrict the book. Mr. Ney? Restrict. Restrict. Mr. Small?
Retain.
Retain, okay. Dr. Carr?
Retain.
Retain. Mr. Dallas is absent. Ms. Frazier?
Retain.
Retain. And Ms. Hay?
I'm number 3, requiring consent.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Can you hear me?
Yes, could you say it again, please?
Yes, I said I was voting as a number 3 in those options, which is requiring consent. Parental consent.
Restrict. Okay.
Yes, restricted.
So, 1. Four and 4. I'm sorry, I got a 3 and 3? No.
Actually, can we get some clarification? Because from my understanding, when the vote was, I mean, when we upheld it, it was to give parents the options to where parents could, because we're saying a couple different things here. Some of us are saying to retain, and then some are saying to restrict. But my understanding is, if the option is basically to allow the parents to have the consent to say, yes, either I don't want my child to check out the book or I don't, that parental guidance is coming regardless, because okay. I believe I thought that's what we did.
Yeah,
so
let me explain. Parents have the right to say to the librarian, I don't want my child to check out any books.
Right.
Or he can give a list of books. That's called the opt-out mode, and that still applies for forever. It's still that way in the library. The parent has the ability to do that. What this does is allow, if you say retain, it stays in the library, but a parent could opt out, but it stays in the library. There's no restriction. You can go in and check out the book. You don't have to have your parents' permission. If it's restricted, the books will be kept in a restricted file. The parent or the child will come to the librarian and say, I'd like to check out the book. The librarian would hand the child a consent form. The child would have to take it home to the parent, and the parent sign that they would be okay to them to check it out. The child could bring it back, give it to the librarian, and that child could get the book. And of course, remove the book means the book is taken away and not destroyed or whatever. So, what do you want to change your vote or?
Not go restrict.
Restrict.
It can go restrict.
Okay, all right. So that's restrict from you, restrict from me, restrict from Mr. Ney. That's 3, and restrict from Miss Elizabeth Hay. That's 4. So to retain is Paul, Dr. Carr, and Miss Frazier. Is that correct? So that's 4-3. So the vote is to restrict the book. Okay. The first one's always hard. We'll maybe this next one's will be. Okay, the next book is Oryx and Crate by Margaret Atwood. Mr. Smith, what do you want to do? Do you want to restrict it or retain it or remove it?
I'm going to restrict it.
Restrict. I will vote for restrict. Mr. Nay?
Restrict.
Restrict. Mr. Small?
Restrict.
Restrict. Dr. Carr?
Retain.
Retain. Ms. Fraser?
Retain.
Retain. Ms. Hay?
Restrict, sorry.
Sorry. Restrict. So that 5, restrict. Okay, so the answer is restrict. And the next book is Perfect. No, I'm sorry. It's November 9 by Colleen Hoover. Mr. Smith?
Restrict.
Restrict. I will vote for restrict. Mr. Nay?
Restrict.
Restrict. Mr. Small?
Restrict.
Restrict. Dr. Hart?
Retain.
Retain. Ms. Fraser?
Retain.
Retain. Ms. Hay?
Restrict.
And 5-2. All right. Next book is Perfect by Ellen Hopkins. Mr. Smith?
Restrict.
Restrict. I will vote restrict. Mr. Nay?
Restrict.
Restrict. Mr. Small?
Restrict.
Restrict. Dr. Carr?
Retain.
Retain. Ms. Fraser?
Retain.
Retain. Ms. Hay?
Restrict.
Restrict. Again, 5-2. And the last book, Handmaid's Tale. Mr. Smith?
Restrict.
I will vote restrict. Mr. Nay?
Restrict.
Restrict. Mr. Small?
Restrict.
Restrict. Dr. Carr?
Retain.
Retain. Ms. Fraser?
Retain.
Retain. And Ms. Hay?
Restrict.
Restrict. Again, 5-2. So each of the books will be reported back to the state board that these 5 books will be restricted in our libraries, and the child must have a permission slip. So we'll need to have that implemented as soon as possible. All right. Let's move on to the next item. Next item is Chair's report. There was a meeting that 5 members of the board attended. It's the delegate assembly from the School Board Association to come up with the legislative items that are important for the state board. Mr. Carlton attended, Mr. Smith attended, Mr. Nay, Ms. Fraser, and Mr. Small. And Mr. Nay, would you like to give an update on what was accomplished there?
Yes, Mr. Chair. This was the 2025 Legislative Advocacy Conference held in Charleston at the Marriott. The first topic was a legislative roundtable of K-12 and other issues. We had 4 legislators that answered questions, 2 senators and 2 representatives. Very insightful. Then we had another one, what's on everyone's agenda? We had representatives from the South Carolina Association of School Administrators, the Deputy Superintendent, South Carolina's Department of Education, a representative from the South Carolina Education Association, a lobbyist from the Capital Information Affiliates representing the South Carolina High School League, and a representative from the Palmetto State Teachers Association that took questions, of which myself and a couple of other board members asked questions. There was a brief on how the state budget works for education. And if you like flow charts, I highly recommend looking that up because it's interesting. I'll say that. We had a delegate assembly where we installed the new officers for the South Carolina School Board Association, or the SBA. And then that's when we voted on current and new proposals. Of note, the proposal that we sent up requiring a level playing field for private schools and public schools was passed. Mr. Dallas briefed that one. There was a representative for the federal K-12 education update. And then on the last day, there was an interesting debate. There was 3 board members arguing for, and 3 board members arguing against 3 different topics. Topic 1 was these topics are currently under legislation. Topic number 1 was, should school personnel be armed to defend campuses? Topic number 2 was, should charter, homeschool, and governor school students have access to public school programs? And number 3 was, should school board elections be partisan? So it was an interesting, interesting if you like that kind of stuff. I'm real nail biter stuff if you didn't, but I enjoyed the debate and the opportunity to ask lots of questions, and I look forward to next year's.
Thank you. 2 weeks ago,
I'd like to add to that.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Well. Yes. Yeah. Also, within that, also, Mr. Downs was also appointed from this board here to represent to be represented at the SBA. He was there as well, and then also we talked about some legal stuff that might be coming down as well, and then within that also I also attended the I believe you have too as well, the South Carolina Department of Education conference. I attended that on the November 14th, and that was a great conference as well. That conference was basically about some of the board governance, and also about understanding, breaking down your budget in years to come, and different questions that board members need to know, and also understanding what the State Department does and how it can also support board members as well as as well as the School Board Association. So I think that the State Department meeting was a very good meeting to go to. If people who didn't go, if they have another one, you may want to go, because they also gave us a book there about board members and some of the boardship. I think it was a very informal information conference, and they both were good conferences. And they both were very instrumental. And also, one thing I would say also, the state board of the state conference was that we also talked about them, how they are trying to kind of getting rid of state education, and that's something that we definitely need to be aggressive, and not as in saying that they're going to get rid of it as in the total, but as in different parts of it, and how they're breaking it down, because there was a lot of questions asked to the guy who came from the White House, and basically talking about how he was how the president is getting rid of the Department of Education. And there were just different conversations, a lot of conversations along with that kind of allude to that. There was no comment there that said that exactly. But when you listen to it and what's going on across this country, then some would say that could be a possibly move that's scary.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I just want to clarify. You meant federal education, not state education. You said state education.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. That'll make you feel good. That's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Also, a couple weeks ago, Gerald Dawson, the county councilman from the Whale Branch area, asked to meet with Pastor Gordon and myself to discuss broadband coverage in the Whale Branch, Sheldon area. And we provided Mr. Dawson the location and the numbers of students in the Whale Branch Sheldon area from the school district and where they lived and what kind of lack of coverage that they had in that area. He contacted the county administrator, Mr. Michael Moore, and Mr. Moore is asked that Dr. Rodriguez, myself, Pastor Gordon, Mr. Smith, and York Glover, the councilman from St. Helena, to also go to a meeting on Monday to discuss how we can try to find the funding to provide broadband access in those areas. So we'll be doing that Monday. Now we're to committee reports. Academic Committee, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On November 20th, 2025, the Academic Committee agenda included 2 operational expectations, 13 student discipline and operational expectations, 14 learning environments, treatment of students, and presentation of 6 administrative regulations, and the update of the Health Advisory Committee award. At the meeting, the Academic Committee board members approved the update of version OE13 and the newly presented OE14. Both operational expectations were presented by Dr. Chad Cox, Chief Student Services Officer. Following student service presentations, Karen McKenzie, Secondary Director of Teaching and Learning, presented 2 administrative regulations from Instructional Services. IS-25 was Multilingual Learner Program, and IS-44 Tests and Examinations. Following a brief reading of the Health Advisory Committee award, there was a Health Advisory Committee award presented to Board Chairman Geyer, who shared the preference of the presentation to the full board and recommended that we present it here tonight to Dr. Rodriguez. I'll read this note. The Beaufort County School District Health Advisory Committee is a volunteer group of dedicated community members that continues to pour into BSCD with their expertise and giving of their time. Over the past year, the committee has gone above and beyond, exceeding the number of required meetings by almost triple as they work through the review of the health education materials involving the reproductive health curriculum. This included reviewing 2 entire textbooks totaling over 1,000 pages of text, 40 PowerPoint presentations, and 89 ancillary resources. Additionally, they reviewed programs and materials for Aaron's Law and Gavin's Law. Their review was presented to the BSCD Academic Committee and ultimately the full BSCD School Board. Each committee member dedicated many hours over and above what was required in an effort to not only be in compliance with the state, but also equip the district's teachers and schools with curriculum appropriate for all students. Consequently, their efforts and commitment to BCSD has made significant impact on every student and health education teacher in the district, from training teachers and other school personnel to the lessons being taught in all schools. So we concluded the meeting with the South Carolina Association for the Advancement of Health Education has honored the Beaufort County School District Health Advisory Committee for outstanding contributions to health education for 2025. And Dr. Rodriguez? Concludes my.
Colonel Geyer, if I may, I just want to thank the committee that comes together and really takes on that task and that work. I want to thank Dr. Stratos. I think she and her team have done a great job organizing this work and making sure that they get what they need in order to do their work. So kudos to them.
Okay.
One of the reasons why I asked for this to come here is because the teacher who works here, Dr. Scott, what's her name, if you don't mind me asking? This is Pryor and her team, along with Dr. Scrattles. They do a good job, and they get the amount of information that is maybe this amount of stuff upon one excerpt or one surrounding one situation in terms of the information they read. And these people volunteer to do this. And to me, I was hoping that we would have them here tonight, but I want to tell them they're watching. We appreciate you, we see you, and we thank you. Because it takes a lot, and for me to sit on the operations committee meeting and to also go to their meetings made me better understand and appreciate people like them who come to these meetings and they read and take the time that they do. They are very thorough. They don't rush it. They take their time into the meetings. I mean, and they put a lot of energy at home into this as well, even before they get to these meetings. They do a lot of work. I just can't express how much we really appreciate y'all. So I just wanted to say that publicly because they deserve it. Her, that teacher, and the full staff, along with Dr. Scrattles and her staff that does that. Thank you.
Okay. Next is the Ad Hoc Policy Committee. Ms. Hay, are you prepared to say something about that?
Hi there. I'm not sure how we're proceeding on this one because I believe the policy we needed to have approved had already been put before us either at the work session or the board meeting prior to that.
The policy in question, Mrs. Hay, is in our board business action for this evening. And when we get down to the board business action, I'll make the appropriate motion.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Nate. Sorry, you all. I'm struggling over here with an illness, but thank you, Mr. Nate, for handling this.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Finance Committee, Ms. Crosby, Finance Chair, is trying to get back home from being up in the Washington, D.C. area. Go ahead.
Good evening. This is for the Finance Committees, we had 2 committees since our last board meeting. And so we will be reporting first on the November 13th meeting minutes. First of all, the first item was the Board of Education monthly review. All of the budget line items were in line with prior year spending patterns, so everything looked good there. We reviewed membership dues for South Carolina School Board Association and the benefits that it provides, advocacy, networking, training, and so on. So those are the costs, the benefits that we receive as a result of the membership and dues. There was a September 2025 transparency report that was reviewed by the committee. We compared spending from September of 2025 to the prior year and discussed any variances that may have occurred. We highlighted certain major expenditures such as construction, custodial services, and health insurance. And we emphasized that we're using AI to help provide this transparency report to display different ways of funding allocations, ways that the district is allocating funds throughout the district. One of the areas that the committee has requested is to provide a focused review of a specific expenditure or item in the budget, and we are, this month's review was focused on health insurance. So PEBA is the Public Employee Benefits Administration that oversees health insurance for the district. It is a rather large expenditure for the district. It is 6% of the total budget, and 92% of that is funded by the general fund, 8% by other funds such as special revenue and so on, where it follows the employee. We did have a premium increase of almost 20% effective in January, and those increases are appropriately budgeted in our general fund budget. We also reviewed some payment cycles. Sometimes they are slightly different. They aren't even every single month because there may be an advance payment that's required as well. That was discussed. We discussed substitute teacher costs, and the shift of bringing our teacher assistants back in-house as salaries versus a service. And then we provided the first quarter financial report for fiscal year 2026. It is a quarterly report. There's It reflected just a slight decline in property tax and state revenues, but at that point in the year, it's a very minimal amount of tax revenue that's received. Most of it is received in December and January. We reviewed some student activity balances at the schools and talked about restrictions and oversight needs. And then I shared that there was a plan of action in place for communicating how the schools would be spending those dollars. And finally, a SS 42, the wellness policy, is an administrative rule, but the Board of Education does mandate that that is updated and approved by the board. So we do have it listed on the agenda this evening. If you would like to move forward with, there is a recommendation, unanimous recommendation to approve that through the committee.
Do we have a motion to approve the SS 42 wellness policy?
Yes, Mr. Chair. The Finance Committee recommends to the full board the approval of the Beaufort County School District Wellness Policy SS 42 as presented.
Second by Dr. Carr. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor here in the boardroom signify by saying aye. Aye. Online, Mr. Small. Mr. Small, how do you vote? Nothing heard. Ms. Fraser?
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Hay?
Hay, aye.
Thank you. Mr. Small? He's not online? All right, motion carries. Thank you.
The next meeting was on December 4th. We also did looked at the board monthly budget, also aligned with the prior year spending. We looked over the financial transparency reports for the month of October with major spending areas with construction, technology, facilities upgrades. We did a focused review in the area of energy this month. And that was looking particularly at the vendors, Pembina Electric Co-op and Dominion Energy, which also had significant increases this year, 15% in Pembina Electric, and Dominion was a similar increase. Energy costs are rising, and the projected budget for this year is $8.2 million. So we are in line with the increases, but there are some significant costs there. Usage trends are also tied to weather and school occupancy times, and the peaks are always in the summer, as they are for local residences as well. We had prepared the district financial audit. The finance department completed the financial reports by the deadline of December 1st. We actually finished it the day before the Thanksgiving break. And the audit was issued, and it was an unmodified or clean opinion by Malden & Jenkins audit firm. It included two major federal programs that were required to be audited as well. Those were IDEA and the MSAP grant. Those were had an in-depth audit. And it requires the state requires a minimum of 30 days of operations in the fund balance, and the district has 76 days of operation, so we are in compliance with that as well. And management was praised for cooperation and a smooth audit, and things went very well from our perspective as well. So we did, the Finance Committee did approve OE 6.1 through 6.8, which is the financial administration of the district. So we have it for you this evening. I believe it's in consent agenda. It's in board business. So I'll be back in just a little bit, and we will review those items that are required by the policy. We discussed a budget calendar for the next year. We have stakeholder input already underway. We've already done a series of meetings, and we have a couple of forums coming up in January. So those, we'll make sure that you all get information on those that will be in addition to the School Improvement Council meeting and the discussion we had. We've gotten great feedback so far, and we'll combine those and bring them to the board in January. So OS 18 was also provided, an administrative rule, and a cost center report that's a one-page handout for board members to be able to use very quickly and as a reference tool. And our next meeting, I think January meeting will be canceled, but we will be meeting again in February.
Questions for Ms. Crosby? Okay, thank you very much. Legislation, Mr. Dallas is not here, so and we talked about what happened at the State Board operations, so that I think that covers that. Operations Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We also had 2 meetings prior to this, so this is a little bit of a longer brief. Policy was the subject of our last 2 meetings. We reviewed OE1, Global Operations Expectations, OE2, Superintendent Succession Planning, OE3, Treatment of Stakeholders, OE4, Personnel Administration, which also include HRS 16, Staff and Leave Absences, and HRS 16.2, Military Leave. OE7, Asset Protection, OE10, Communication with the Board, OE11, Communication with the Public, OE15, all of those were voted on and unanimously approved for the consent agenda. However, this evening, it looks like we've got OE3 and OE15 that have been pulled. Under the construction update for the 2019 referendum, as of November 18th, there were 10 project closeout remaining. Paid and committed funds total $374.8 million, or 98.78% of the referendum budget. Remaining funds total $833,000, or 0.23 of the referendum budget. For the 2023 referendum, all monthly project updates report green lights and budgets and schedule. Paid and committed funds total $189.3 million, or 43.13% of the referendum, and remaining funds total $249.6 million, or 56.8% of the budget. We did have a couple other topics for discussion. Was the Levico property discussion. The district has owned Levico property since 1921. We have leased it to Hilton, to the Head Start and to the EOC program, and currently leasing to the county library for $1 a year, which expires this month. It is noted that the land can be used for possible community center or emergency staging use. Discussions were centered over concerns over equity of exchanging developable land for non-developable green space, questions regarding public benefit and overall asset stewardship, complications tied to the shared septic systems, and however, the topic has been tabled until there's a coordination between county officials and their superintendent. More on that later, of course. And then we have yet another WK Austin easement request. Novit has purchased the land between Robert Small's Leadership Academy and 170 with the intent of building a 24/7 freestanding ER and primary care clinic. This requires utility and drainage easements and rear access to WK Austin Drive. They will, however, include the sidewalk. Discussions include community health care partnerships, safety concerns regarding traffic impact on buses and parent drop-off operations, because they will tie into that, all that traffic, pedestrian conflict, and potential cut-through of traffic. We are requesting that Novit provide traffic calming solutions, 3 traffic courses of action, which must include minimizing WK Austin during school peak transportation drop-off. And so we're waiting on Novit to come back, so more on that later. Mr. Smith asked for a construction material selection discussion, so we reviewed the standards and strategies related to material durability, life cycle cost efficiency, maintenance impacts, and long-term capital program sustainability. The key theme for the discussion was the need to balance initial cost containment with longevity, safety, and maintenance predictability. And I believe that covers everything. And we'll discuss the OEs that have been pulled from the consent agenda later.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Ney? Okay. All right. Technology Committee. Go ahead.
Just in the interim of that, I would say that we did have a reschedule of one of our meetings. We did have to have that done in terms of the initial one that I believe that was with the HR, because when HR comes in, they normally bring their whole team so they get all their OEs done. We did have that. And then also that time we had scheduled, there was there was a district, basically they were showing what our schools do on this side of the Broad. And then that meeting was canceled. It was canceled at that time. Then we also had another one. The next day that our next meeting was scheduled was the one on the other side of the Broad. And we went through that meeting, and I ended up missing that night. And I just wanted to apologize to the public because some people said they were looking for me that night. But we had an operations meeting that I guess maybe the chair of the operations committee meeting didn't know that we had that same meeting on the same night on the other side of the Broad. So that's why I didn't make it, because we had operations rescheduled a meeting on the next night on that night. So just want to put that out to the public. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Ms. Ingrid Boatwright is not here today to talk about technology committees. Is there anybody on the committee that wants to say something?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So for our technology committee meeting, we had basically two topics. The first topic was the discussion of bringing the live streaming capabilities in-house. We currently use the county channel to broadcast our business meeting, which satisfies the requirement. The 5-year cost for paying the county channel to do it is about $224,000 a year. $224,000 over 5 years. If we bring it in-house, there will be initial cost of equipment needed, with the initial cost being about $120,000 and about $160,000 per year after that, to pay a full-time employee and to maintain the equipment, which is an approximate 5-year cost of $720,000. So of course, the committee decided that it was cost prohibitive. There are, if for whatever reason the county channel can't continue to support us, there are 2 other vendors in the area, and if we need to, we can ask for quotes from them. And then we also briefly discussed maybe using some other options for meeting rooms that the county channel can support, such as the county council meeting room, which I believe has been done in the past. So if that's an option, we might be able to still use that. And then our other topics that we discussed was we reviewed the student repair report and the student repair surveys.
Okay, questions?
No, I would just like to add to that. In terms of even getting rid of the county channel, what we pay, what to be good stewards of taxpayers' money, what I put on that meeting would be, it would be preposterously ludicrous for us to even get rid of the county channel, because the hard work that they do for us and that they do around this county, it should go unnoticed. And we talked about this as a board. I'm sure the chair, and I know we talked about this as a board a couple of years ago, and we priced it. The price that it would cost us to go out on our own, and I thought they were supposed to be bringing that back to us. Still, they were talking about that. Maybe some people got it back and I didn't get it back, but I know they were talking about bringing those things back. This would be astronomical to compare to what we're paying right now. We're talking about paying millions versus, I won't say pennies, but paying what we're paying right now, and for them to continue to support us and support our graduation, I think would really be an understatement. And I don't want to send the wrong message across to the county employees that all the director of the county channel that that there were any problems, because we went through this a couple years ago, and like I said, when we tried it, the price was ridiculous, and so I believe I thought that we were past this, and I hope that tonight that we are. And that we're moving forward, and that we're being good stewards of taxpayers' money, because I don't believe that there's a problem with the way the county is doing it, is doing their jobs, and I believe that they are delivering the part that we need to the community, and we appreciate them. So I just wanted to convey that. And I think that it was some board, some members who probably were in question of that, but for the most part of it, the job is getting done, and the job is fine, and it would cost us. I think it would cost us a whole heck of a lot more money to spend than to change the course of action that we're on right now. I just want to say that. Thank you.
Mr. May?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The reason the discussion was had is because there was a requirement from the state that requires us, a new requirement from the state that requires us to live stream. The discussion was only, do we meet the requirement? And if we don't meet the requirement, how much does it cost to bring it in-house, if that is in fact what it takes to meet the requirement? That's the only thing that the discussion was about. And yes, we all agreed that it was cost prohibitive.
Okay. All right. Superintendent's report, student achievement, sir.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Straddles and her team are coming forward. They're going to provide an update on academic instructional support for schools. I believe she has an executive summary for you that was in your packet and a brief presentation of a few slides. Dr. Straddles.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, board members. You have an executive summary that starts off with giving you information regarding the approach to school support. What I do want to highlight quickly on this executive summary for you is to note that we're shifting from something that you are very familiar with, and there is a slide that'll speak a little bit to it, from the Plan, Do, Check, Act model of school support to bringing in human capital, building capacity, and looking at our schools individually, but still utilizing systems, and you'll see that in our presentation, that systems that are unified within our practice. Joining me this evening, I have team members who actually execute at the school site, and they work in tangent with our executive directors. I have Dr. Mona Lisa Dixon, Executive Director, Teaching and Learning for Math and Science. Director is joining us, Melissa Murray, for Literacy, and our Director for Accountability. Many of you know him as Nicholas Flowers. So with that, I will leave you to review the executive summary. I have given you citations, given you information with regard to deeper learning and practice, and the opportunity for you, if you can cut and paste, is a very good video for you to get a clip and take a look. In here, I do want to note, and thank you for pausing at it, English, there is a similarity amongst each accountable content area in the support that we provide. It's not only on assessments, it's with regard to the development of lessons, it is with regard to the professional development. And the individuals behind me actually follow and monitor the formative assessments from each school in order to do prescriptive professional development. So with that, if I could please have the PowerPoint presentation. Thank you. So this is just a brief update. We can go to the next slide, please. Here is the common model of support that you are very familiar with, that Plan, Act, Do, or some people refer to as predict, describe, understand, or prioritize what we recognize as the challenges. As many of us we have noted that mathematics is an area of improvement, and we have a full team lending support this year, actually, and last year as well, and we're starting to see the results. Our next slide takes you into a little more recognizing that not only is school reform about a technocratic perspective, it's also developing that culture for deeper learning, not only for me as the educator, but for you as the student, wanting to have a deeper application and understanding and that value of learning. Next slide, please. What I present here actually is our structure that we utilize. You hear us talk about, we have instructional reviews. You hear us talk about monitoring meetings. I'd like you to recognize that a lot of this conversation starts from our superintendent. It is led by our deputy superintendent, who then works with our instructional chiefs, myself, and works with the executive directors. From that, each of us as chiefs, myself, the chief of instructional services, our chief of student services works with we work with our directors, we work with our AD, we work with our specialists, and then our executive directors actually work at bringing support into our schools through our ATSI specialists and building that additional capacity to our principals. I got ahead of myself. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Kaylee. So what you have in front of you right now is the work of John Hattie that I have brought forward to you in the past. And you may have gone one slide quicker than myself. Can you go back one? All right, there should have been one more slide in between that. I apologize. What you have in front of you right now is John Hattie's work. I want you to take a look at item number 2 on that bar line. Thank you. If you could pause right there. Thank you. Collective teacher efficacy. What does this mean? I want you to know that the research by John Hattie, who has taken over 2,000 meta-analysis, those of you who've done your work in research recognize the significant amount of research that he has put forward. He's actually went back and rewrote his work. That's why I bring his work to you more than one time. It has an impact of 1.51. Shifting your school culture means the opportunity of moving students a year and a half. Real simple. 1 is a year, 5 is a half. The research actually denotes that most students have a value of 0.4 of growth within instructional practices. 4 months of learning. But the research shows, I want us to go back to recognize a cultural shift of bringing and understanding the needs of the teacher, the needs of the student, has 1.57 growth factor of opportunity. Next slide, please. These are the teacher practices. As you build that, as I've said to you before, that idea of efficacy, these are the type of questions that you build that culture. And that's what's growing within our system. We've gone from putting PLCs in place, developing opportunities of our coaches, building capacity to understand what data, we have data systems. But once again, as said many times, culture will beat systems any day, and these are our targeted areas. Next slide. Now, what is the support that our division is doing? This is a commonality amongst all our content areas. Coaching and collaboration, instruction and observation, data and administration. That means looking at our data and working on how to utilize the data. Curriculum, standards, and assessment, and I would be remiss to say, working at the rigor of the standard. I feel someone behind me actually reminded me to add that word. Now, if I could have the last slide, please. One of the biggest areas is actually getting that understanding of how all this fits in order to meet what we recognize as the state report card system, and that falls into the work of our accountability department under the work of Mr. Flowers. So I felt it was very important as well to bring forward, because that capacity is being built from amongst us, executive directors, coaches, principals, assistant principals, and into the school site. So that's why I added this as another component for that consistency, that when we speak data, we should all understand the data points that we're discussing. And with that, last slide is telling you thank you for your work, your support, supporting our division, supporting our students, and the work you do for our district. Thank you very much.
Questions?
Thank you.
Questions online? Okay, nothing heard. All right. I think we're now into board business action. OE 6-1 to 6-8, financial administration. Ms. Crosby.
Good evening once again. OE 6.1 through 6.8 is financial administration, and that relates to the financial audit and a variety of reporting that we provide to the board through committee and to the full board. So the first is to reiterate, the annual external financial audit was a clean, unmodified opinion this year. It is the 25th consecutive year with no audit findings. That is a big deal. So also we apply for the Government Finance Officers Association Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting. We are in the process of preparing that application and sending that off, but we have received that for 35 consecutive years, and it's something that we can be very proud of. The Moody's rating company, so when it's relating to debt, when we have bond issuances, we have to get a credit rating, much like our taxpayers and individuals do when you're borrowing getting a mortgage or borrowing money for a car. So that is a rating that we received from Moody's and Standard & Poor's. Those ratings were affirmed and stood still this year at an excellent rating of AA1 for Moody's and a AA for Standard & Poor's. On the financial highlights, we had a general fund budget in fiscal year 25. So this is all for the fiscal year and school year ended June 30th, 2025. The original budget we had of $359.2 million was we received about $800,000 less in revenues than we projected. That is due to reductions in state revenue. Expenditures, we actually underspent. Our spending occurred at 97.9%, which is right at 2% variance. So that's very close in terms of how large the amount of the budget is. We maintained an unassigned fund balance. So that's the reserves in the general fund. The board's rural policy is no less than 60 days of annual operations. The board, we have finished the year with 76.6 days of operations, which is also a 21% fund balance, so we slightly increased. But that the fund balance, the reserves that we hold in cash to follow through the fall, to be able to pay salaries, benefits, and other services and supplies throughout the fall until tax revenues come in December. So we do have a period of time where there is virtually no cash flow revenue coming in from the state or local government. So we do have to have a sufficient amount at June 30th to be able to float that until December. We produced minority business enterprise reports as required twice a year in March and in September. And then our quarterly financial reports we provided and we post on the website for each of the 4 quarters, last being reported in September. And then we have a series of financial transparency reports that are required on our own website, and they're all out there for any viewing information. And our current every monthly reviews are provided at each Finance Committee meeting. So that concludes my report.
Any questions? Mr. Renee?
Congratulations on another clean audit. Congratulations on the track record and the mantle that you have placed upon you, and the shoulders that you stand on that are hoping that you continue to do that. And also thank you to your team for our continued credit rating. It's everything you guys do is amazing, and I'm proud to be a part of such an exceptional team here. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? I have one. You're really known throughout the state by having a superb operation. It's hard to give somebody like you another goal, a higher goal, but I'm going to give you one. There's 2 districts in the state that have gone from AA1 to AAA. That's your goal. What are we going to do to get that? And I know you're going to tell me we don't have a Boeing and we don't have BMW and we don't have other big thing, but if you look at our track record and you look at our revenues and the price of housing and how they continue to rise, and the military support that's here, those are pretty constant. And I'd like you to put some effort, see what it's going to take to get us to AAA, because if we get to AAA, we get even better interest rates on monies that we borrow. I know that's a big leap, I understand, but you're getting bored. I got to get you something more to do.
Challenge accepted.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, OE 13 student discipline. Who's going to talk on that?
Well, I mean, it was pulled, I'm assuming, for a question.
Yeah,
so
that's what
I think we'd like to know the question.
Yeah, I don't know the question.
Well, actually, it was.
This is the one that, not today, you didn't pull them today.
No, right, no,
Ms. Boatwright pulled it at a prior meeting, and that's why I got it. Thank you.
No problem.
So, Mr. Cox will give you a quick summary of, he came back to the committee and went through the OE again. So, go ahead.
So the previous academic committee meeting, I went through the full presentation of week 13. When I came back to committee the second time, I added the executive summary, and that was with the signature acknowledgement forms. And then I also added some information about where parents acknowledge the code of conduct and where to access it and those types of things. So I added that full separate PDF document that was presented online, and it just took from the presentation format into a smaller condensed document with all the outline of the information that was in there to include the signature pages at the front.
Thank you.
Sure.
Also, getting some phone calls, but also just understanding and having a concern, because I believe Mr. Dallas too was talking about student discipline, and being at this conference this weekend and hearing them talk about student discipline and referrals and some things along those lines. To me, it screams out culture. And when I say it screams out culture is, I think some of these things are handled by an administrator. And I was looking back and I was going to ask anyway, so I was glad that came up. Where in this area does it show us, okay, can you tell us, what is our referral numbers at every school in this district? Because I remember we used to get those reports at one time. Those used to come up to us, and I want to know, what's the school that's leading in terms of referrals? And because those are things that we need to be concerned about, because every year this board here, we talk about teacher retention. We want to put more money towards the bottom line. There are different things that speak to that, like behavior, that's a part of the culture. So when we really take the initiative to put the money there, we need to take the initiative to, as board members too as well, to understand what some of the underlying issues are that's leading us to losing teachers, if that's the case. Or which schools where teachers are staying versus leaving. So I'm asking, where's that information at in terms of this presentation?
So when we presented on the big binder that I gave you, it was a summary of all of 2025. And so in some of the slides in there are data slides that show the overall number of referrals as a district. I did not break it down individually by school.
Okay. Well, I thought maybe I didn't find. I was thinking maybe I did. Well, I went back and looking at the binder. I was thinking maybe I didn't find it or whatnot. But I think that is information that we need to have, and we used to have that come to us before as board members. I believe also before I got on the board, I think Dr. Gregory McCoy used to bring that information to the board, and that was requested at that time when I came on. That was something that was continued. I don't remember when it stopped, but understanding where our schools are and where the cultures are in terms of spending money, we need to understand that, and this is a very important part of the district, because when you talk about the athletes that we did today, and the guy who sits in the front, whether we believe it or not, sports and some of these sports and band, these things these activities change schools. We can sit there and blow and get ticked off and get tired of me talking. Let me tell you something. I know, because I was one of those kids. That's my community that I serve. Those are the kids that I serve, the underprivileged kids. When you have a band like Battery Creek, those kids are sold out to the school. Not just to that band. Those kids go to class and they pay attention, because they know that if they don't pay attention, Mr. Rod Williams ain't going to have to be a part of a Battery Creek band. When you look at our schools that are failing, that are under, what's the word now? We have 3 schools that are under, what was it called?
Underperforming.
Underperforming. Look at the program, look at the athletic programs at those schools. When you have winning schools, you have a different culture and most of the times. So when we talk about behavior and we talk about people who are holding these students accountable for their behavior, this is information and this is data that we need to process. And some of us don't want to talk about it, but this is the truth. So I will be looking for this information so I can understand the behavior of our students and what we are and what we're not doing. But to keep them there. And then we want to say, well, at some point in time, what's the parents? No, it's us too. We're part of the problem too. Because I will allow the behavior. I will allow students to disrupt other students in classes so that they can be in school. Because if so, that's a problem. So yeah, I need that information.
Mr. Smith, you also asked to have OE3 brought back, so would you like to? Sure.
Yeah, just a question. These are board business items, and they all require votes and approval, I think, individually, because they're not on the consent piece, so.
Right. Well, I thought we moved these up and vote on those as well.
We're going to take individual votes on them.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
okay. That's fine.
That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, what we'll do that is we'll get the discussion done and then we'll vote on each one of them, okay? So OE3, sir?
OE3, Mrs. We talked about OE3 at the committee level. And Mrs. Bruder had my comment was at that level. It goes hand in hand with the comments that I was just making, some of the comments I was making just now. I told them at the comment level, because once again, as board members, we sit here and we talk about putting off all these good, anyway, all these good packets, basically, all these good packets with different information in it about Beaufort County School District. We asked Ms. Bruder print this off, and this is a good talking point. And then we say on one hand, it's a good talking point, but then on the next hand, that are we losing students to charter schools? But we keep the same. We keep doing the same things over and over. So at some point, the strategy has to change, because when you keep doing the same thing over and over, that's insanity. If your results are not changing, then as a board, we have to be willing as well to do something over and over. I mean, to do something different, because what we've been doing over and over ain't working. Where are you going, Mr. Smith? When you said stakeholders, the community does not feel, and they've said it several times, certain parts of the community, we don't feel that we're really truly stakeholders. Y'all pass stuff down, and that's that. If you understand it, you do it. If you don't, that's not good. So my question to my colleagues, we approve these OEs, but do we really understand what the community is asking for, or do we not just care about some of it, or are we just willing to just keep it moving? What's good for the most? Because like I said, that meeting, I still said when I looked at the template, it looks good on paper, but how is it really speaking to the different demographics and the culture of this district? It's good to have different good talking points when you go in the community. Yes, it is. But how many people read these pamphlets that we print out? Some people do and some people don't. So how are we engaging the community? And how are we allowing them to buy into this district to really be stakeholders? So my question to my colleagues is, what does stakeholders mean to us? We know what it means to the staff. What does it mean to us? And until we start answering these questions, like a young lady told me the other day, y'all don't value people. That's why I moved my child out of the district. And until we can value these conversations and have these tough conversations, then we're gonna continue to lose people to John Paul, Bridges Prep, and 2 other more coming to Beaufort. It's gonna continue to happen because we come to these meetings and we're ready to go, fired up, and we're ready to go home. We don't want to hear what Mr. Smith got to say. But it's bigger than Mr. Smith. We have constituents, we have people out here who don't feel like they're stakeholders. And meeting after meeting after meeting, we pass over it. When is it going to stop?
I would like to comment. I understand your point for your constituents. Well, let me finish, sir. I talk to my constituents on an almost weekly basis, meetings, and I don't get that same issue. And when I go to Robert Smalls, I see the number of people that have come from charter schools to Robert Smalls. So when I'm talking in my constituents in the community, I am not getting the issues that you're mentioning. So I am not certain that your comments are universal in this district. And I think perhaps you have contacts outside your district that I don't have. I admit I don't have contacts in your district, but I do have other around this county. I've talked to people, and I don't get that same issue. So we may have an issue that we need to focus on in the St. Helena, Beaufort, Ladies Island district that you have. But I really question whether or not that same other board members are getting that same kind of pessimistic view that you expose there. So, Mr. Ney, what would you think?
In 3 years, I think I've gotten one comment basically asking me to respond more, and I'm responding more. So out of all my constituents, I've had one comment asking me, and that was a year into my tenure. So I think I'm doing better. I hope I'm doing better. But that's only one comment.
Dr. Carr?
I'm not hearing much from anybody in the greater Bluffton area about any discontent with the schools or issues with people leaving or coming and going. We have 2 religious affiliated schools in the Bluffton area that the Cross Schools is growing a little bit. The Huntington Christian Academy just moved from Hilton Head to a bigger campus right next to the Bluffton complex. I don't know what their enrollment is, but I know that our numbers generally are pretty steady at all of the Bluffton schools in and around where I am.
Okay. Ms. Hay, do you have a comment?
Yes, sir. Mine's just more of the same in alignment with Dr. Carr and Mr. Ney. I will get complaints, but they're not in the realm that Mr. Smith is speaking to at the moment. And we do have a lot of students who leave private education to go to the public schools, and it's primarily for the resources that are available. Excuse me, the resources that are available for certain learning disabilities and whatnot that our local private schools can't support. I will vaguely speak for the other 2 Hilton Head representatives who aren't able to be on tonight. I have heard from both of them at different times. One of them rarely hears complaints from their constituents of any kind at all. And I think, yes, I'm trying. I'm sorry. I'm not feeling well. Um, they don't have as many complaints or rarely hear from their constituents at all. And it's not for a lack of trying, because one of those reps is very deeply immersed in our community through their children as well. So I don't know where the void is for others' constituencies, because we do have a very active community on Hilton Head, but I would also extend that out to Bluffton, because I have many friends, business partners, and so on in the Bluffton area too. And they rarely come to me with complaints. They may come to me asking about specific schools if they're looking into school choice for their child. And, that's our role as representatives. We can talk with them about the different offerings of each school so that they can find the school that fits their child's needs the best. Sorry. But ultimately, I don't hear complaints in the realm that Mr. Smith is sharing. So I agree with Colonel Geyer that perhaps we need to do some other digging in his area to find out why they don't feel valued as stakeholders within the district.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Fraser?
I definitely agree with Mrs. Hay, because I don't encounter those types of issues with any of the schools or any of the parents that I have engaged with negatively at all. Last week, I'm hearing praises. I'm hearing teachers, I'm hearing parents bringing their kids back into schools in the district. So I agree. We need to delve into his school areas more and see what's going on.
May I add one other thing?
Yes.
What Ms. Fraser was just sharing reminded me that I also hear overwhelmingly about teachers who actually leave private education, different types of private education as well. It might be a day school, it could be a larger, Christian school, so on and so forth. But the teachers, some of them leave the private sector, if you will, and go into the public education system. And I hear praises from constituents about those teachers coming back. They may have those teachers for their child's classroom this year or in years past, and they're just so overwhelmingly excited that these great educators have come back to the public school system. So that's more in alignment with what Ms. Fraser just shared as well.
Okay. Mr. Smith?
Yeah. And of course they would, because we do pay the most in this county. We do pay the most. We are the leading paying in the state. So, I mean, yeah, so I would understand why they would be excited to come back as well. But also, and these people are not just in my district. See, the difference between me and some of my colleagues is I go all across this district. And I'm present for a lot of things. I go and I'm actively engaged in probably majority and pretty much every single board member on this board area. So when you're out there, if you put yourself, when you, like a young lady said, Mr. Smith, when you stay ready, you have to get ready. So when you're always ready, available, and you're listening to the people out there, then you will hear this stuff. And I've even had people from different areas tell me that they've tried to reach some of my colleagues, and I have not mentioned that today. And that some of you have not been calling back, and you're not even they don't feel that some of you guys are approachable. So I mean, so we want to start calling things out and making things personal. One thing for sure, the numbers don't lie. That's what I wrote down. Numbers don't lie. Since COVID, this district has been losing people. We were asking people. There were a group of people asking for numbers. So we can say here and make it seem like it's a Mr. Smith district thing. But numbers don't lie. Black and white don't lie. So let's actually ask around the table, why is Beaufort County School District continuously losing students? It ain't just in my district that we're losing students. We're losing students in every single district in this, in every district around this table. It ain't just in my district. So regardless of whether you get the calls or not, it's still our responsibility. And the people may lie, but the numbers don't lie. And we can't address it and go to meetings and say, oh yeah, we're losing kids and we're trying to do this and we're working with this development, and then come to the table and say that, oh well, we need different things and different apartment complexes to help us galvanize numbers in this district so that we don't continue to lose students. But then we come here today, we get amnesia. Nah, the numbers don't lie. And I would just leave it there and say that we may not see it, and it's just not in my district, and it's just not my community. It's in a lot of these districts in our county, and the numbers don't lie. Let's look at the numbers. Thank you.
Okay, sir. You also wanted to bring OE 15, safety and security, out.
Yeah, that's the other thing is, when I was looking at that too, I was wondering, were those numbers accurate in terms of how many times have we bought dogs? And I was thinking back to the schools to have searches because we're paying a lot of money now to have these and I want to say we're paying money, but we have systems in place, and all these systems must begin to align. So it's one thing just to have the metal detectors, but I was wondering how many times have we had, and we didn't permit preventative measures before we bought metal detectors in this district. How many times have we had dogs in the buildings around the district? Do we have those numbers?
The high schools normally try to do one in the parking lot and one inside every year, and one per semester. And the middle schools do at least one search on the inside. But sometimes they get canceled because law enforcement's canines have been called out the night before. It's very difficult. They're not our dogs. So it's very difficult to schedule, but they do the best they can with that schedule I just told you.
So once again, when we're talking about different things and approving different OEs, this was something that was in the OE that I was. When we talk about safety and concern, and then also we have coaches saying, "Well, listen, y'all are and staff members, the community saying that y'all are fussing that they're gonna tell our kids that they have to be searched before they come into school and all this. What have y'all have done? And dogs hadn't really gone to the schools, and so I started to sit there and think and go back and take the time out and read through the OE and look for that information. And I do remember that. And there were some schools where I remember when we were going through this where, like he said, they were caught. So if the dog is not available that Wednesday, and they were only done on Wednesdays, that's to me that's still no excuse that we only search in schools on Wednesdays. And heck, if that's the case, the kids don't figure it out on Wednesdays. It's on Wednesdays.
I can only go with the schedule the sheriff's department gives me for the availability of the canines. So I don't make their schedule. They tell me that they give me 4 days a month to try to schedule all my schools in, and if they're not available, they're not available.
If that is the case, then that's a real concern as a taxpayer that the sheriff cannot work with the district and have his dogs ready and availability for the safety and security of our students in this district. Because it takes more than just one initiative and one person and one group of people. Because if we're gonna have our staff doing some of this stuff too as well in terms of these metal detectors, and then it's a host of things that will need to be continued. And to say that maybe I think it was, I don't remember the number was, but I do remember the number. I couldn't remember exactly. I do remember saying to myself when I asked that question at the committee meeting, oh my God. But to hear someone to just bring it up lately, and then to hear him say it's only on Wednesdays, that's very troublesome, Dr. Rodriguez. Maybe we can get with the sheriff and see, if we can get an alternate day besides a Wednesday. And I'm not sure how the rest of the board feels about that. But to just say that you know, we don't have, we're just using one mechanism to keep our kids' safety and have safety and security. And we had a bond referendum a couple years around safety and security. That's just, to me, that's a real serious, that's a serious situation, because we have taxpaying people who have they're concerned. So I just want to bring that up, because I mean, to me, going into school with those things are, and the lack of, it just can't be, it can't be acceptable. It has to be called out. And we need help. Then, you know, as us being elected body on this school board, then if we need to reach out to him, then let us know. I think that it would be a duty of us if we see if that's what it takes.
Just to be clear on one. Okay.
Man.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
I just want to be clear on one thing, that the sheriff's department has worked great with us. Every time that I've needed them for extra searches, whether it be a bomb threat in the evening, 2 o'clock in the morning, they have been very responsive whenever I need them to get the canines there for something that needs to be done.
Do we not use the air station anymore? I know one time back we used to use the air station, and the military dogs, they used to come in and support. Are they still available?
Yes, sir. We've used them for bomb threats. Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
I just want to say, I apologize in advance for what I'm going to say, okay? But it is very frustrating when we make a comment that says that we only do one thing, right? When in reality, there is a host of safety and security measures that we take on an ongoing basis. And that's what we spew out into the public. It's vastly unfair to the Protective Services Department, the school sites, anybody involved in the safety and security measures. So yeah, I'm upset about it, because to just sit there and say we have one thing that we do, it's just inaccurate.
Okay, let's move to voting on the OEs. We have to vote on OE 6-1 to 6-.
Do you want to answer the other question?
Sir?
Did he want to answer the other question? I mean, or you need time to think about, you just want to go back to the other question about talking to the sheriff about getting the dog more. I mean, that's.
I'm happy to talk to the sheriff.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank
Okay. Let's have a vote. And let's vote on OE 6-1 to 6-8, financial administration. Do I have a motion?
I'll move that we approve 6.1 through 6.8.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Are there any discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Online, Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Ms. Hay?
Aye.
Motion carries. Let's go to OE 13, student discipline. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And Ms. Hay?
Hay, aye.
Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Okay, so we had no?
I'm a no.
And a no. Motion carries. All right. Next one is OE3, treatment of stakeholders. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second? Second. Any discussion?
One at a time or all of them?
No, one, OE3.
We're on OE3 now.
OE3 now. Okay, OE3. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Ms. Hay?
Aye.
And no?
No.
And no. All right. The last one, OE 15, safety and security.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved. Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Ms. Hay?
Aye.
Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Next item on the agenda is board meeting calendar, and we've got about 4 minutes before we have to have the second public comments. So, do we put the board calendar up, please? We discussed this work session, and it's now time to vote it in. If there's any questions or discussion on this?
The motion that we set the calendar.
Okay, there's a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Ms. Hay?
Aye.
Thank you. And the last item is the board policy on live streaming, and we've discussed that.
Yes, we have. There is a motion coming out of the policy committee. The policy committee recommends that the full Board of Education approve the live streaming of board meetings policy and direct the superintendent to forward the policy to the South Carolina Department of Education.
I'll second that motion.
Second by Mr. Smith. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
And Ms. Hay?
Aye.
Okay. Now I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
That been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Ms. Hay?
Aye.
Thank you. Future agenda topics.
Respectfully, I've asked for several topics, and I'm not adding, but I've asked for right choices now for a long time now. And it was a couple others that I have not seen yet, and I'm still waiting to hear from those. So as soon as we can get to some of these topics that I've already, then I won't even.
We still have them on the list.
Yeah, okay.
And we'll get to them, sir.
Yeah. I'm hoping so I can understand the.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Got one announcement. Dr. Rodriguez is going to talk about metal detectors for board meetings.
We have, as you know, we've secured metal detectors for our high schools, and that included also the district office. And so as we move into future board meetings, the intent is to have those at the board meetings for entrance into the board meetings at the entrance to the school here in this case, or at the entrance to the district office in this case.
All right. So second, public comments. Rachel Martinez. Rachel Martinez doesn't seem to be here. Mr. Cambria? Okay. Mr. Miller? Thank you for your patience, sir.
If sitting, and I appreciate your time, and I'm going to be very brief. I have concern about accountability. We've hired 2 extra people in the arts area, but we've got to have the individual schools' participation. We're in the middle of a concert season into the semester. To the best of my ability, only about 50% of the schools are having a concert. And it's been impressed by the new hires to be on a schedule, and I say there's 50%, but there's a caveat along that, because the district can't tell me for sure who is and who isn't, because they aren't necessarily reporting to the district office and getting it on a calendar. I hope that we find a way to get the individual schools to be more accountable. Thank you.
If there's no objection, we will adjourn under unanimous consent. Thank you.
You're watching BCTV. Live, work, play.
The county is one of the oldest forms of local government in the United States. Early settlers from England brought the tradition of county government to America. Today, more than 3,000 county governments provide services that affect almost every citizen's life. South Carolina's 46 counties are very representative of how county government has evolved nationally. The county unit in South Carolina was regarded as a local extension of state government. But a state constitutional reform movement in the early 1970s led to the South Carolina General Assembly passing the Local Government Law, also known as the Home Rule Act, in 1975. The Home Rule Act greatly expanded county authority and changed the nature of county organization and administration to what we know today. Beaufort County went from having a board of directors to a county council. Members of the 1975 council included Chairman Arthur Horn, Vice Chairman Grady Thames, Leroy Brown, Gary Fordham, William Grant, Harriet Kaiserling, David Jones, Bill McBride, and Booker Washington. As the new council sought to distinguish itself, council members desired an official symbol that would represent the jurisdiction's identity and unique character. Council appointed an ad hoc committee to undertake the task and carry out a contest for the best county seal design.
Harriet Kaiserling was a member of county council, and it was her idea because we didn't have anything that could significantly identify our beautiful Beaufort County. We met then up at I think it was a Carolina Bank. And some years ago back there on West Street, and then we put them in piles, like good, bad, maybe, until we finally got it down to the one that we now use.
County Council approved the Seal Committee's recommendation, which reflected the county's history, traditions, and natural beauty. The Seal's colors of blue and green represent the colors of the county's outdoor environment, with its many waterways, marshlands, and maritime forests. The 5 images within the seal depict some of the county's distinguishing features: ancient live oak trees, the seafood industry, rich natural resources and a rare marine ecology, low-country architecture, and miles of rivers, creeks, and inlets.
I was really impressed. I thought it encompassed what we as a body were looking for. A seal that would, when you looked at it and just thought about it a little bit, it really covers the aspects of Beaufort County. So he did a good job of bringing together the things that we hold so dear and what we really like about Beaufort County.
Councilman Bill McBride was in office when the contest was held and was present when the committee revealed the winning design.
I think council was ecstatic about it. We thought that the symbols on the seal represented aspects of life in Beaufort County. There is a slight change in the original draft that was presented to us, where you have the shrimp boat today. Initially that was a pleasure craft, a sailboat, yacht type boat, and it was changed by county council because we felt that the shrimp boat was a better representation of a more comprehensive aspect of Beaufort County life, because you had other things on the seal that represent the pleasure and recreation, the fishing and the beach. So they thought the shrimp boat, which was a very important part of Beaufort County culture, shrimping, especially at that time, would be reflected on the seal.
The winner of the contest was an artist from Hilton Head Island, the late Lee Payne, whose design was selected from more than 126 entries submitted from as far away as Indiana and Tennessee. He was awarded $250 for his design, but more importantly, he captured the legacy of outdoor beauty, culture, and history that helped to define important aspects of life in Beaufort County.
To see more Beaufort County moments, go to the Beaufort County Library homepage and click on the Local History tab.